going on, vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. Today's video is going to be a really cool one because this consists of my review of the self-titled / sole release of the group Skyros, reissued by Void Records, as well as an interview with label founder Brian Hulitt. While we all love the progressive, hard, psychedelic rock giants like Yes, Black Sabbath, and Pink Floyd, there seems to be this sort of parallel universe of groups and artists that never quite reached those stratospheric heights commercially and only resided in local legend status by releasing privately pressed albums that are extremely valuable and highly coveted by collectors, and eventually getting reissued by labels like Riding Easy or Permanent Records. And that's exactly what Brian at Void Records does. Now, what makes this collaboration really special is that Void Records is based in Millville, New Jersey, which is literally the next town over from my hometown in Vineland, and he has a little booth set up at an indoor flea market in the area called The Spot, where he sells his releases, as well as other reissues by popular groups and bootlegs. I always leave with something every time that I go there. So I want to thank Brian for giving me this complimentary copy of the Skyros album that he reissued, which we are going to go in great detail over. And I genuinely knew nothing about this band or the album prior, but when he sold it to me as Midwest-based classic / prog rock, I was all in. We have quite a bit to get through, so enough of the chit chat. Let's jump into what this video is all about. So let's start off with a bit of background on Skyeros. The group was based in Farmington, Missouri, and formed in 1974 by keyboardist / vocalist Rodney McCarran, rhythm guitarist John Donnelly, lead guitarist Bill Skies, bassist / vocalist Steve Wright, and drummer / vocalist Carl Lawson. Each member came from band that resided in both the local and St. Louis music scene, one of which actually opened for Ted Nugent and Bob Seger. Talk about a Motor City royalty lineup there. They recorded their self-titled / solo album at Golden Voice Studios in Pekin, Illinois, and unfortunately, about a week after the sessions concluded, John Donnelly lost 2 of his fingers at his day job working at an air conditioning plant, so the band's future was kind of doomed from there. Ultimately, they released the album themselves under their own label, had 1,000 copies pressed, and that was it. Skyros was no more. When I observe these under-the-radar type groups, I always try to gauge them against other relative groups that reside in roughly the same genre. As for Skyros, the best way to describe them is a cross between Yes and Pink Floyd with a folky twist. Even some of the descending riffs on album opener Daily Dreams kind of remind me of early Rush.
In the morning, the darkened clouds may only bring the rain. In these times we're so far apart, it's hard to withstand the pain.
The overall classic rock aura around their style does somewhat loosen up to fulfill a more poppy structure on Don't Give Me No Alibis with the vocal harmonies, but the Moog synthesizer solo is an absolute highlight. Both Searchin' and With or Without You have this Hammond organ foundation that's juxtaposed by this funky tinge to the guitars, and as for the vocals, the former definitely reaches the higher depths of Rodney McCarran's register, and the latter is a great showcase of the group's vocal harmonies.
Sunny loving in the evening too. I need some loving with or without you. I do need some loving. I'm so overdue.
Flipping the album over to side B is the one track that kind of stands out stylistically, and that's Homecoming, honing in on some Eagles-esque country rock with a jaunty, tambourine-driven rhythm.
I am free, I am new, I am whole, and I'm bound on my way home. Now I see and I know what you are. You're the substance of my soul. Yes, I know.
Now, I know I had mentioned groups like Yes and Pink Floyd that sound close to these guys, both residing in the more progressive-leaning side of the rock genre, and Skyros really hones in on that progressive side on the album's closing track, the 14-minute August Sweet in Time. Typically, progressive rock epics are these sonic adventures held together with reoccurring melodic motifs and threads, and in the case of August Sweet in Time, it instead sounds like these little song fragments that are seamlessly pieced together, kind of in the vein of like side 2 of Beatles' Abbey Road, and it builds into the piece's closing climax that pleasantly resolves itself melodically.
August, I'm reaching out for you, but you haven't left, just like you always do. I'm lying cold, lonely in the sun, and you know I will until it's done. August, why do you treat me so? You leave so fast, and then you come so slow and back in school. I recall the times of golden August, last summertime.
Over the years, the Skyros album sort of lumped itself into this universe of obscure, privately pressed albums that command huge values in the collector's market. The most it sold for on Discogs was around $760, and eBay came out to $660, so definitely big money. Now, because of the immense value, some of these albums fall prey to being reissued unofficially for the sake of supply and demand, but what makes Void Records so special is that label founder Brian Hulitt works closely with members of the bands he reissues in order to get access to master tapes and artwork. Now, if you cross-reference the original pressing, you'll see that the jacket is faithfully replicated. The only difference is the center label. The OG had a purple label with the band's logo, and instead this reissue uses the black and white Void label that appears on all the releases. And as an added bonus, there's also this insert with various lyrics as well as the label's catalog. Now, I gotta say, this album is extremely well produced, and that comes through on this reissue. It sounds super warm, and the bottom end is rich. I did find the high end to be a little bit shrilly to my ears, but not so harsh. If the OG is well out of one's budget, then this reissue will suffice just nicely. So now that I've talked about the album, let's transition into my interview with Void Records founder Brian Hulitt. Him and I discussed the origins of the label, how he immersed himself into the underground psych/classic rock world. We talked about what went into the Skyros reissue, and he also showcases some other titles that he's reissued on his label. Without further ado, enjoy.
All right, Brian, thank you very much for your time today. It's greatly appreciated. When did your journey start in the world of music and vinyl collecting?
Well, actually, way back when I was about 13, my mother bought me the Who Sings My Generation. And I happened to see him on the Smothers Brothers at that time, and I became a lifelong Who fan. So I collected everything for years. I collected everything by all the mainstream artists. The Who, Tull, Yes, you know, Beatles, Stones. I collected all that. And then at one point I realized that there must be something else. So I saw an ad in a Goldmine magazine for a copy of the Chocolate Watch Band. I thought, wow, I got to try that. So I think I sent the whopping amount of $50, which
Oh my gosh.
now it goes for $800.
Hey.
I sent $50 to a guy in Oklahoma who sent me the copy, and from then on, I was delving underground.
Sure.
And I was. That's all I did. I became obsessed. I hoarded copies. I mean, another band that comes to mind is Moving Sidewalks, which was ZZ Top, basically.
Like pre-ZZ Top.
Pre-ZZ Top. And bands like that, 13th Floor Elevators, another good example
Yeah.
of the early ones. And then I went even further to the ones where there was only a couple hundred pressed, very private pressings.
Yeah.
And that's when, in the niche that I'm in, I really started to think about having my own label where I would reissue some of these. And at that time, sadly, a lot of my heroes, a lot of my underground bands were being booted in Europe. And I just thought, why not get a hold of the band, pay them some money, give them some copies, and do it right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing for 69 albums.
That's incredible. Now, do you feel like, and I always look at it this way, because there's some other labels that specialize similarly in what you do, like Riding Easy Records and Noble Records. They reissue a lot of these underground things that not many.
Of which none of them were around when I started.
Sure, that's right. But I feel like I almost see it as just like this parallel universe, because like the artists that you were rattling off that you grew up loving, like Yes, The Who. I mean, you're talking my language, but I look at it as there's almost this parallel universe where if you love all those bands, there's this other world of other similar bands that just never really got the attention that I feel that they deserve. So do you think also too, like once you've had enough of the regular stuff that was already so popular, you were just seeking like what else is out there? You know?
That's exactly it. I knew there had to be something else.
Yeah.
And a good example of a band that should have made it. Most of these other bands, they were iffy with their music of making it.
Sure.
But one in particular is a band called Creation of Sunlight. They're actually called Sunlight, but everybody knows them as Creation of Sunlight. I don't think I have a copy with me, but anyway, they had a pop psych masterpiece. I had 4 songs that could have been played on the radio easily, but it was a tax scam by one of the Letterman brothers, whatever. It was a tax scam label, so they never were promoted or anything. Now their original goes for $2,000. Good Lord. And I've sold. I got lucky a couple years ago and got into a glut of 19 sealed copies from these singer's son, and we worked out a deal and we sold them all together. He made his money, which is always important to me. That they make money and I'm making money.
Ethics.
Yeah, and we reissued it. Did 500 copies. I wish I did 5,000 of them.
Sure.
But in those days when I first started reissuing, I was more into the artsy, just for the music kind of vein. And I still am. But now I do have to think about more of the, how many am I going to sell? How many should I press?
That's the business aspect. I mean, for as much as there's love and admiration for the art, you have to look at it from that business perspective.
Yeah.
What are like some of the ethics behind what it is that you do? Do you because obviously in your time loving music and collecting vinyl, you became aware of all these bands. Was it just a manhunt of tracking down like the original members, who has the rights, who has the tapes? Like, walk us through that.
This is a really interesting story. It goes back before the internet, in fact. My wife used to take a sheet of names to the library. If I found out, if there was a guy in a band that had an odd name, I would tell her to search him. So she would go to the library, probably with 20 or 30 sheets, and look at phone numbers in that area. And she would bring them home, and at nighttime when I got done with my day job, I would cold call. I'd just cold call. And initially, I would try to get originals if they had any, because the originals were all quite expensive. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And then the second thing, if I couldn't reissue them all, but I talked to some of them about doing a reissue. But I always wanted, and I still do, I'd rather pay the band than some backroom producer, because these bands would not have been even known if not for guys like me. And at the time that I started, there was 3 or 4 guys that really compiled pricing and everything for all these bands. But I don't want to see those guys get the money. I want to see the bands get the money. We're not talking a lot of money, but get some money and new copies. Yeah, and it's worked out. Simple agreement, 1 page, sign. You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy and not too legal, because if it's too legal and it's like 10 pages, it's not worth it.
It takes the fun out
It's
of the
not
whole.
worth it.
Yeah.
I wanted to reissue a band called Ice. They were from Chicago in 1972 and had a famous guitar player in my circle. Anyway, I told the guy I wanted to reissue it, and he said, "Fine, I'll send you a contract." He sent me something that was an inch thick.
Oh God.
So that ended it for me. That ended it for me. Honestly. But overall, yeah, it's been a labor of love, and I'm at 69 reissues now,
Okay.
and I love to get to 70, just to say I did 70. I'm going to be 70.
Hit that milestone.
I'd like to do 70. But also, what I got to consider is, whatever I'm reissuing now, you know, I am getting older, and when you reissue something, you put money out and you have to wait for it to come back.
True. Yeah.
It might be 2-3 years before you. Other times, you might sell out right away.
Yeah.
But you got to consider how much product do I want sitting around, that kind of stuff. And now one of the big distributors. Well, they didn't really go out of business. They just changed names, but they have different formats for things, and it makes it a little more complicated to deal with them. So. Yeah, it's been a nice journey. Along the way, there's a lot of stories that maybe we'll get to.
Sure, yeah. Given your niche, how big would you say, in terms of your clientele, how big is the circle of people that are seeking out these kind of releases?
Well, that's a good question. I would say, and if we're talking world, I would say probably 20,000 people, maybe 30.
And that's worldwide?
Or I would say worldwide.
Nice.
But the thing about it is, you have a lot of younger people now. There's these Canadian guys that I deal with. They're both in the like early 20s, and they know all about this stuff, and they're trading and everything in it. So that's good. That's good to see.
It's good to see a young generation get handed down this stuff.
And anything, especially this kind of stuff. It is. So.
That's awesome. Over time, does it become more difficult to find things to release just because either you've done them already, or let's say other labels that are similar to what you do get their hands on it? I mean, is it more of a struggle, or have you considered, because obviously your love for music is rooted in 70s, have you thought of like progressing towards like latter part of the 70s into 80s, what other stuff from different decades is out?
Well, it's funny you say that, because yes, in the first part it's more difficult to find something, just because I've either done it or somebody else is doing it, because now there's quite a, I don't want to say quite a few, but there's maybe 10, 15 other labels doing the same kind of thing. Not with my ethic, you might say, but they're doing it. Anyway, the thing I'm considering reissuing, it's not even a reissue, it's an issue, is something newer, but it harkens back to old psychedelia, and the cover is pretty cool. It's far out, it's wild. And I'm thinking about doing that in a limited press.
Okay.
I'm also thinking about doing a double album, gatefold, Void's Greatest Hits.
I was going to say, are there any samplers to give?
There is. There's one in here. It's called Best of Void.
Okay.
It's a CD, and that is a killer party.
Cool.
Killer party.
Killer Party, you heard it here.
Yep, it's in here. I mean, fuzz guitar heaven.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any like newer artists that you have released? Because obviously most of the stuff dates back 40, 50 years. If you hear like a new band and it emulates that spirit, do you see that as an incentive to kind of diversify the label, or are you just very rooted in what you're into?
Originally, see, we, me and a partner, had started a local label, and our goal was to release some local bands and different things that did their own material, not cover bands, and do that. And then we released our own album, which, heck, maybe somebody bought it. All right. You know, I don't see it in here, but I'll dig through this later. I'll dig through that later.
Sure.
We released our own album in 2009, and which I wrote every song on it, and he did some of the music. Most of the music he did. Yeah, I'm not really a musician, but if I'm pointed to how to do something, I can do it.
Sure.
So we released that album. That album's called Ferguson Hewlett, Mushroom Palace, and obviously who I'm trying to portray to new hippies and old hippies.
Yeah.
You know, and I sing some on there, and he sings a lot of them on there. But anyway, that basically is newer. But the band I want to do is relatively new, and they have an old sound.
Sure.
So I'm debating the merits of it, and if I'm going to get backed by my distributors if I do that. And I don't know that I would. That's another thing. I'm debating on putting on Void Records or on my other label, Kiva, which I'm not sure I'm going to do. If I'm going to, my goal is to just do 70, then probably I'd put it on Void Records.
Sure. Do you perhaps too? It could also be a thing where I think a lot of people they know Void Records synonymously for what you do, so maybe it helps to have it just be under that umbrella. Perhaps it gets a little bit more wider exposure. Perhaps could be that.
Right now I'm just debating, like I said, having the records sit around, how fast it's going to move, that kind of thing. It's got a wild cover, and people do go for covers.
Of course.
For sure.
There's been plenty of times I've seen something in a bin, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but we'll give it a whirl.
Yep. And I can do it for, my goal for the common man is always be able to sell something for $20. Maybe 25. And a lot of these other reissue labels are 35, 39, 40.
Yeah.
And they're nice. They're doing some nice work.
Oh, absolutely.
My buddy, guy that's worked with me a lot is Lion. And Lion really does nice reissue packages. Really nice.
Nice.
But then again, he's $39, $40.
Yeah, I feel like the days of finding just new vinyl in general, like whether you're trying to find a reissue of a Yes album or, dare I say, the new Taylor Swift or something, to find it for 20 is...
I don't have it, but I got
okay.
I have a Taylor Swift album.
I feel like the days of finding $20 new vinyl is a thing of the past almost, like going back to 2000. So good on you for thinking of the everyman when it comes to those budgets. Because
I still want to be that way. I don't like I sold this for $20.
Yeah, which is actually what we'll be talking about is the Skyros LP. Did you first encounter this record during your time collecting and digging into the underground stuff when you were younger?
I had a copy of it years ago, and I kind of watched the market after that thinking, somebody's got to reissue this thing. You know, I was tied up then doing other things, because you can only do so many at once when you got to front the money.
Sure.
I was tied up doing other things, but then it came to a certain point, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try to find these guys. So I found him on Facebook, the guy I worked with, of all places, and the rest kind of is history. He sent me a master, and he sent me a bunch of other songs that still might come out at some point.
Okay.
Some of them are very good, equal to the songs on the album.
Yeah.
And there's a couple throwaways, but that's to be, figured. So that album, yeah, it was a pleasure to put that out. I love the cover.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love the cover of it, and it is progressive, a little bit of country rock, a little bit of psychedelia. It's a little bit of everything. Without pushing any of those boundaries too far.
Yeah. I feel like it's a healthy blend, because like when I was listening to it, I'm like, okay, the harmonies kind of remind me of Yes. Some of the chord progressions are very Rush-like, and then another track we were speaking before we were rolling has like a country-ish kind of twang to it. So if you're just a lover of 70s rock in general, this will steer you right. For me, I always like to dig deep when it comes to what goes into stuff like this. When you got in touch with the band, did they still have like the original master tapes? And if so, did they send those to you? Did you have to work with a file, whatever?
No, he had master tapes.
So this is all analog.
Yep. He had master tapes, and also, you know, he was great to work with. I didn't get any original vinyl from him.
Okay.
He had a couple copies, and I made a very fair offer,
Sure.
considering they'd probably be resold, you know, but he was keeping them for his kids. And when somebody tells me that, I just let it lie.
Yeah.
I don't go further than that.
Yeah.
You know, if a guy has a box of 50, well, then I'm all in. And
It's like, come on, something's got to budge.
could be expensive, but yeah, but he was very good to work with. I mean, he sent me the cover files and everything like that, the lyrics, you know, everything. So it worked out. Everything worked out perfect.
And what's the if you know off the top of your head, what's the current market for something for an original pressing like this?
Original for that would be about $850.
And what are you selling it for?
$850.
I meant the reissue. I mean,
Reissue's $20.
$20, all analog, $20. Come on, you cannot beat that at all. That's absolutely tremendous.
And they can find that, well, obviously here at the spot. They can find it here or also on my website, which is voidrecordshallucinationscds.com.
We'll link it somewhere on screen or in the description of this video. Now, when we were setting this all up, you had mentioned that you had some records that you wanted to showcase on camera.
Yeah.
And I would love to see them.
Okay, these ones are earlier releases on Void that are all big value as originals, and now some of these reissues are actually long gone, and they're going for some bucks too. So one of them is Hickory Wind. This was a band from Indiana, 1969, and they have one very great psychedelic song in here. I wouldn't say the whole album's psychedelic. Other dealers push it as that. It's not really. And it's some country rock, some folk, some rock, but they have one great fuzz song on here. But the original list now, the only one on eBay right now is $2,000. The only one. I put it, they were from Evansville, Indiana. What I did is I put an ad in the Evansville, Indiana newspaper buying copies at one point, and I got 4 copies sent to me. Now, it's a gamble, you know, when you do that kind of thing, but also should show everybody. That is my label.
There you go. We'll be sure to get a zoom up crop shot.
It's a Mayan symbol. Probably the best one, the most famous one I've ever done is this one. Hunger. It's not The Hunger, it's Hunger. These guys came out of Portland. They went to LA to make a record. They had some very bad management. As a matter of fact, their manager, according to Hunger, left them in LA, took their equipment and all the records.
Oh,
so they were stuck.
God.
They were stuck. And the thing about Hunger is, this is another $2,000 album as an original if you can find it. I only have 2 copies of this, so they're not for sale, obviously.
Sure.
But the thing about Hunger is, the guy from Hunger wrote me a letter. That's when communication wasn't as easy as it is today. He wrote me a letter about the band and everything. So it's in the liner notes that they played at a party for the cast of Star Trek, and Gene Roddenberry and
Wow.
and Darren McGavin, who was the Night Stalker. They played at a party for them. And well, years later, the producer, slimy guy he was, got with an Italian label called A Karma. I call them Bad Karma because
Okay.
they boot a lot of stuff.
Sure.
I said it. And anyway, they declared that I was a liar because none of that ever happened. But how would the producer know? He was gone. You know?
Honestly, I haven't even heard a lick of this, and just by looking at the cover, I mean, they look like guys that I would totally dig.
They're an organ-based. So this is very psychedelic.
Okay.
There's a song here called Mind Machine. I used to have my former website. That was the song when you turned it on. It came on. But very psychedelic. I don't want to say Doorsy, but it is keyboard keyboard lead.
It's got that Vox Continental thing going for it, maybe.
Another thing here about these guys is they claim this is an alternate test press to the original. This has different guitar parts and different arrangements. So this one is really something as compared to the original. This sounds more fuller. Anyway, they claim Ed King of Lynyrd Skynyrd, who was a label mate, was on this album.
Is that so?
That's what they claim. He played a lot of the alternative parts, along with the drummer from the Alarm Clock was on here.
That's right, because Ed King started out on the Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Yeah, but Gene Gunnels and the Alarm Clock, they claim, was on this album. I don't know why I'd have any reason to lie. You know?
Contractual, maybe, or legalities.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. So there's a couple, and this one is a big Canadian one, Plastic Cloud, and this is just fuzz guitar. Fuzz guitar start to finish, if you like fuzz guitar. So it's very psychedelic. It almost sounds of like the Beatles when they first started playing fuzz guitars, because the vocals and the harmonies are sort of like Beatlesque.
Okay.
But the songs are longer. It's just good. It's great all the way through.
Damn.
An original of this is easy 1500. One of these guys I met in August parking lot on Route 70 and 206.
Okay.
There used to be a restaurant up there called August. I don't know if it's still there or not. I met him in the parking lot and bought 5 originals off of him. It was like a drug deal or something, you know? And this one in particular is on, if we can get it out of here. There's only a couple. I usually only make a couple. This is on Sky Blue vinyl.
That is beautiful.
Now, there is one of these for sale on eBay, in this, exactly like this. And I think I've got a ticket of 75 maybe on it.
It's not bad. When you describe Beatles Go Fuzz, I'm thinking to myself, what are the chances it's in here?
Not.
Damn.
I only have a couple. Well, I'll just sit it back over here like
That's
this.
cool.
I only have a couple of those. That was one. This is another. This is something that was from Philadelphia. That actually was on Cameo Parkway, which was not a rock label. That's Chubby Checker's label.
Yeah.
And this is extremely psychedelic. As a matter of fact, this might actually, I never thought I'd say this, be too psychedelic.
Is there such thing as too psychedelic?
You listen to this, it might be in parts. But this guy that did this is a guy named Rusty Evans, and he ended up going by a different name and made other albums. And he also wrote a lot of country songs, but this is not country. And this one is another one we have.
Oh God, that's sharp.
On pink vinyl, and
that looks great.
And one of the greatest, in my opinion, rock songs we did. We also added losing it.
Oh.
We added a pink 45.
Oh, that's great.
With the great rock song 5 Years Ahead of My Time, which also was done by the Third Bardot. That's a great song.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's another big one. The originals are probably 1,000.
Jeez.
I know now. And let's see what else we got. Okay, here's a really interesting one with a Maxfield Parrish cover. This is called Stack, Above All. This is from like '68. And Stack was a garage band, I'd have to say. They're not really psychedelic, what I call psychedelic, but they're a garage band, garage rock. The thing about this, I did this with a guitar player, and the thing about this, the original drummer was Steven Seagal when he was just Steve Seagal.
Ah, okay.
And if you follow Seagal in his career, he's done some of the soundtrack music for his movies.
Sure.
So, but he was in this, and the guy I did the reissue with sent me all pictures of him and Seagal and Kelly LeBrock, and I don't know what I thought I was going to do with him, really, you know. But he sent him to me, and it was nice of him.
Sure.
It was enjoyable.
It's authenticity.
I guess he wanted to prove that he was telling the truth.
Sure.
In that case, but this album is impossible to find as an original. I mean, I don't know what it would, maybe a couple grand, something like that. But the thing about this album, I don't know if this is the original or the paste on. There's two covers. The original reissue of this had a cutout here, and we actually pasted this from the inside.
Ah.
So that's really limited to get.
Sure.
And also the original, the pressing company screwed up and made the opening on the opposite side.
Okay.
So we were due to get it out, so I just created the term, it's for left-handed collectors.
The left-handed collectors. There you go. That's to cover up their mistakes. There's some quick terminology.
You have to do something, right?
Yeah.
You have to do something. Let's see what else we have here. This is one of the ones that I have available now. It's the Rain. They were from New York, circa maybe 65, 66. So some of this is very pop psych, I'd call it.
Okay.
And then there's some other stuff on side too. There's some individual stuff and some covers, but there's 4 or 5 really good songs on this, which some albums you don't get 4 or 5. And this album is also one of the ones that falls guilty to trying a bunch of different things and not knowing which to put your heart behind.
Sure.
And-
Like seeing which one worked and then sticking
Which
to
is
that.
so many albums that came out are like that even today.
Sure.
So that's a negative from this, but this is, well, for $20, it's a well worth document of the 60s.
Sure.
And that is available, and that is here.
It's in the bins.
Yep. Okay, what else we got? We've got, let's see, here's a Jersey one. Mad Fables, and they were from Montclair. This is basically a Grateful Dead, the band, Little Feat kind of sounding album.
Okay, so a little jammy in places.
Yeah. And the one guy in this band actually came down to I have a big barbecue in the summertime, and he came down and played at the barbecue one year. But I really like this album. It's kind of a grower. You know, you'd probably have to listen to it more than once, which is some...
Couple spins.
Yeah. And then it gets to you after a while.
Awesome.
But, you know, you've got New Jersey Nights on here, you know, Ounce of Love, Southern Yankee. You got some good cuts, and, of course, the unique cover. Now, this doesn't go for a lot of money. An original is probably $200.
Okay.
But, again, the reissue is $20.
There you go.
Or less, 20 or less. Depends where you get it. Sometimes it's less.
Cool.
Let's see. I'll get 2 out. One of my favorite albums that I released is Drywater. Now this is not, it could be put under the vein of Southern rock,
Okay.
but I wouldn't call it Southern rock. It's good rock.
Okay.
And Richard Dry, who made this record along with his wife Shay, died tragically outside of emergency room while he was having a heart attack, and they weren't allowing him in the emergency room. That's how he passed. But this one album is one of my favorites. When my kids were little, we used to. And this used to be a paste-on cover. This one still is. But when my kids were little, we had a little assembly line going. You get the front cover and paste it on, and I'll do the back cover, and I'll put the insert in.
Family operation.
Family operation. And I wish I had a video of that. But this is one of my top 5 favorites that I released for sure out of '69.
That's awesome.
Here's another monster Canadian one here called "It's All Meat" or "It's All Meat." They were on Columbia in Canada, so that wouldn't be typically something I'd reissue if it was on a big label.
Sure, yeah.
But this one has always been a big collector's item. about $1,000 probably. And when we did this with an orange 45 as a bonus. That contains this somewhat famous song, Feel It, is on that. And this one, unfortunately, I don't think has it. Well, this just has a test press of the 45 in here.
White label test press.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, this is a really good, this is organ dominated.
Okay.
But this actually, in most songs, sounds like the Stones.
Really? So Stones with Hammond organ.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, there's one song on here that's sort of a trance organ song.
Oh.
It's called "Crying in the Deep Lake," and it's really good. But the rest of the album is like Stones.
Okay.
Like Stones, maybe with more obtuse lyrics though, not like just Paint It Black.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So
I have a lot of homework to do with all this listening.
there's some great ones. Here's one. Return to Bliss. This is actually sealed and this is for sale. But this one was not really a reissue. This is really an issue because I released Bliss's first album and then it came to pass that they had another album. And this album's great. Power trio, rock and roll.
Cool.
All originals. It's just a great album. And I'd recommend this to everybody that likes rock, really. This isn't, I wouldn't call it psychedelic. I wouldn't, it's just straight out power rock, basically.
Power trio rock, there you go.
Yeah.
Like Blue Cheer and Early Rush, probably.
Yeah, maybe not as heavy as those guys, but it's still, and there's a couple great songs on here that if I do a best of Void 2 that are going to be on that for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot. I mean, you want me to keep going or?
Show one more.
One more. All right, here's another one, another Canadian monster. Jarvis Street Review. Came in a beautiful gatefold.
Oh, wow.
And it came with a green 45.
Ah.
Original. This is, there's one song on here. It's called Mr. Oil Man. It's 13 minutes long. And it's an incredible song. I mean, you got to hear it, really. Everybody should hear it. The rest of the album is psychedelic rock. But this is a short album. It's probably only 30 minutes with 13 of it taken up by that song.
Yeah.
But I don't think this just has the test press in it. This also came with a green 45 and a photo. So this was an expensive package to do, but it came out wonderfully.
Yeah.
And it's long been sold out. You know, I would imagine on the internet, probably $100 for one of these now. Which I don't have any on there right now. I only have test presses and one real copy that's mine.
Would you say that there's like a small circle of customers that like have kept tabs on everything that you have done and can say that they have all the Void issues? Or
It's funny you say that because I know one person that does. There's a guy in Norway
oh my god.
that has all of them. He just bought his last one he needed off of me. I found him one and he just bought it. So he has all of them. Yep. I don't know who else does. There's probably other people.
Sure, yeah.
But I know for sure he does.
That's awesome. Listen, I love what you're doing with your label. You're putting out great stuff. Skyros is a fantastic record, and believe me, when we're done filming, I'm buying something else of yours. You got to guide me in the right direction. But seriously, it's all great stuff. Thank you for bringing some notable stuff in your collection, and I'll put links down in the video as to where they can find your stuff.
Oh, terrific.
And they're also available at The Spot in Vineland, New Jersey.
Yep. Good promo.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dylan. Thank you.
So there you guys go. That is my review of the self-titled / sole release of the group Skyros, reissued by Void Records, as well as an interview with label founder Brian Hulitt. If this album caught your ears and you want a copy for yourself, head on over to Void Records hallucinationcds.com to order a copy. Or if you're relative to the tri-state area, visit the Void Records shop within The Spot in Vineland, New Jersey. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.